Duke and Duchess of Sussex are to formally split from the Royal Foundation, the charity they'd run with Prince William and the Duchess of Cambridge.
Prince Harry and Meghan are going to set up their own foundation. The announcements follow reports of strained relations between the two couples. Nicholas Witchell has more.
February 2018. Making a difference together, said the slogan, as the Cambridges and soon-to-be Sussexes appeared at the Royal Foundation Forum. But less than 18 months later, that togetherness seems, well, a little less wholehearted. The Sussexes are leaving the Royal Foundation to set up their own charitable venture. According to Kensington Palace, these changes are designed to best complement the work and responsibilities of their Royal Highnesses as they prepare for their future roles. They will still work together on certain issues like mental health and conservation, but from now on, William and Catherine will do things their way, and Harry and Meghan will be free to do the same. Nicholas Witchell, BBC News, Buckingham Palace.
We can talk now to royal historian Kate Williams, who joins us from London. Morning, Kate. What do you make of this? You know, amid all the speculation of strains between the two couples.
Yes, well, obviously the speculation of strains happened when Harry and Meghan said they were no longer going to live at Kensington Palace, they were going to live in Frogmore, and there really wasn't much conversation before then, but now it's started, and this has fed it. But I really think it's, you know, I think what we're seeing here is really what was going to be inevitable, because simply Harry and Meghan have a very different role to William and Kate. William and Kate will obviously one day be king and queen, and so what they do must be necessarily much more focused on the United Kingdom, on the Commonwealth, whereas Harry and Meghan, we've seen them talking in a much more international sense, and they said even in their engagement interview how much they were interested in international, looking at global issues. So if that's what they want, we've also had some conversation about Africa, if that's what they want to be global charity ambassadors, that really is quite different to the Royal Foundation. So I think it is an inevitable situation about two different priorities. I mean, the palace are using the word divergent, and I think it's a bit unfortunate the way that poor Meghan seems to be rather saying it's all her fault. I think there's been some debate on Twitter saying it was all her fault, but I think that it probably will play better to their strengths at the moment.
So what do you make of these then reports? I mean, you've alluded to them, people saying that they're estranged. What do you make of those? Do you think there is any truth in that?
Well, it's difficult to assess, really. I think, you know what I think, is that I think after Diana's death, we really romanticised the bond between William and Harry. We expected them to be best friends forever, and that doesn't really necessarily happen to two brothers. I think the majority of siblings don't live together, don't work together for their whole lives, especially after they get married. I mean, that's not how most of us behave with our siblings, so I don't really know why we really expected it from the royal family. I think that William and Harry did have that very close bond after Diana's death, but now they've both got their own households, they've both got their own situation, and I think that essentially it was always William and Harry, they had this threesome. It was William and Kate and Harry joined, but now Harry has his own life, his own child, maybe more children on the way. It's a completely different setup and household, so I do think it's different, and I do think that we'll never know whether there's strain or not, but I think that it was always going to happen, that they would have divergent routes.
But in terms of royal protocol, what are the two couples kind of set to do together? What roles will they have in terms of being the Fab Four again, as they have been nicknamed?
I think that's the Fab Four was really coined and sort of cemented in what Nicholas was talking about, the press conference there was last February, and it was this big marvellous press conference about the Fab Four and everything they were going to do. So perhaps in hindsight that wasn't the best decision in terms of the palace, that perhaps if they hadn't had that big press conference then we wouldn't quite be so surprised now. But I think certainly what apparently is going to continue is that William and Kate apparently are going to announce more initiatives for children and families and for the environment, and the Sussexes are going to have their own separate foundation. We have no name for this foundation yet, our own separate foundation, and I do expect to see a lot more global initiatives, a lot more interacting with Africa, across the world, various countries. I think that's what we're going to see, whereas William and Kate will obviously talk much more about families, about maternal health, and William, I think, will see some more environmental schedules from there. And obviously we have a lot of fondness for some of the charitable endeavours they've set up. Heads Together, that was part of the Royal Foundation. Invictus Games was part of the Royal Foundation, and those will now separate. The funds that were meant for each will now separate.
Kate, thanks very much. Good to talk to you.
Mary.
Kate Williams there for us.